So, for those of you who are students here in the workshop today, do you guys have any questions? How are things going with your classes, given that we're about a month into the new semester? How are you finding your writing classes so far? Anyone would like to share?
Yeah, remember guys, this is just a regular Q&A workshop, so we're here just to answer any questions you'd like to. This is not like a very formal workshop there where we cover like a specific topic to teach you. So don't be shy, don't hesitate to just type in chat or like ask anything you want, share your thoughts, anything.
Okay, yeah, can I like speak through the mic?
Sure, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Thank you. So, yeah, my professor said that my articles like have many similarities to the sources that I find to be my reference. And because this is a summary, so I'm not really know how to like paraphrase like beautifully.
Hmm.
So if you have like any tips for me or anything that I should like note, please tell me how to do it. Thank you.
So Sia, can I ask, are you currently working on the article summary assignment for ARC1?
AC2 actually, it's
Ah,
just the ARL, like the first draft.
I see. So, if I'm not mistaken, in the ARL for AC2, you guys are required to look at, potential sources for your research paper, and then you kind of evaluate them, right?
Yes.
I see. So, have you tried like evaluate the sources by using the crab test?
Yeah, I did.
Mhm. And well, how did that turn out for you? Like, are you currently having any trouble with, doing the crab test
Yeah.
on your sources?
Yeah, sure. Like the article, like the source was like very long, and for any like I don't know that did I understanding how
Mhm.
to doing the crab taste like correctly or not.
Ah, I see. Well, I mean, obviously, some of the article can be a bit long. What you can do before you start reading them is to look at the title. Obviously, that might give you some idea about the content of the article, and then you can have a look at the abstract. So the
Mm.
abstract is usually like a short summary of, the entire article, like what's the content of it, what's the focus of the study, maybe, and then maybe the findings, and then maybe some discussion points surrounding that study. So maybe you can look at the abstract before you start kind of reading through the entire article. And then when you're doing the crap test, I think probably like you have like several criterias you want to evaluate the sources on, right?
Yeah.
So one of the few criteria that I would pay more attention to is relevance and probably authority.
Mm.
Yeah. So obviously, when you're looking for sources for your research paper, you want sources that actually can help you with your research paper that is relevant to your topic, right? So you can kind of focus a little bit more on justifying how that article is relevant to your research question. So anything that you evaluate your source on should somehow be connected back to your main research question for your research paper. So does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so I hope that helps. So don't worry too much about like, you know, like don't worry too much about how long your ARL should be. The point of an ARL is again to evaluate, and you don't have to write it like an entire essay. What you need to do with the ARL is giving reasons why you are choosing this source, why it is helpful for you, and how are you going to use it. Because I think you have another part in the ARL where you have to talk about how you are going to use the source for your research paper. So you should also focus on that too.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I hope that helps.
Yes, all great tips. I just want to add something. So I'm gonna send a link to our YouTube channel through the chat. If you are not familiar with that, definitely check it out because we have different workshop recordings stored there. And as Mia mentioned about crab testing, we have a very good workshop that we held last semester about crab testing. So you can just go to our YouTube and check it out later whenever you want to, because it covers a lot of very good points there about in general how to find good sources, how to review them, how to do crab testing, different aspects of that, and more importantly how to incorporate the sources from those sources you use into your ARLs or any other assignments. So that might be useful as well. Anyone want to add anything else towards the summary parts or paraphrasing part? I see you mentioned some paraphrasing issues or worries you have.
Yeah, like tried, but I think I'm not good enough for that. I just try to change just word or switch parts of sentence.
Hmm.
So that's
So
my problem.
yeah, so let me actually show you one more thing. Let me share my screen here. We have, can you all see my screen now?
Yes.
We have this website with the PAW resources made by our team and the coordinators or some outside sources, which are really useful. So I'm gonna send a link to that a little bit later. But if you click on some resources made by PAWs or additional resources here, uh, it opens a Google folder here with a lot of different resources that are very useful. So, for example, if you want paraphrasing, there is one here, paraphrasing cheat sheet, with pretty good tips about paraphrasing. So you can always check out these resources whenever you have some issues or difficulties. You can go to this page over here and try to find in some sources to use later on, because this is open. You can use it anytime you want. So it was actually created by our older member of PAW, by Matthias. So um, you can definitely check it out. It'll be helpful. I'm gonna send a link right now to this.
Okay, thank you.
But generally, about paraphrasing, what I can suggest is basically vocabulary is really key here. So whenever you read a sentence, or even if you do a summary of a whole like abstract, um, try always finding really good synonyms that are not um, like exactly the words you are using, but very similar to them in the meaning. That will mitigate most of the similarities in terms of plagiarism, but it will maintain the main idea of the subject. So that will be one tip.
Thank you.
Anything else you guys want to add on this? Maybe just you can just share your own thoughts on like summaries paraphrasing if you had difficulties before when you were studying like in AC1, AC2 in general.
For me now, whenever I try to paraphrase something from the source, I try to make the paraphrase sentence as simple as possible and as close to my language as possible. So I try to rewrite the sentence in my own words, try to make it as clear and understandable as possible for me. So a lot of the time when you're reading from like an article, it's written in someone else's language, and sometimes it's a little bit hard to understand for you. So when I rephrase it or paraphrase it, I try to rewrite it in the way that makes the most sense to me, so as understandable as possible. So I keep the most important information, and then I rewrite the sentence from there.
Yeah, that's a very good comment, because every author basically have their own tone, their own language, and you always want to fit that tone, because if some of the sentences while you're paraphrasing or summarizing, they are just feeling off your tone, it becomes a lot harder for a reader of your assignment to catch the overall idea general, or it just becomes a little bit more confusing.
So I want to add something about paraphrasing. So for me, regarding the sentences in the summary, sometimes I highlighted the keywords, and if I don't understand the keywords, I often search on a dictionary or on the Google to see the simpler like meaning of it, and then I will try to use that meaning to illustrate how I understand about the sentences. So the summary will be more simpler and more to your language, I think. So that's my tips. Hope it helps.
Yeah, great. Anything else you want to ask? Again, I guess we have some new people here that weren't right at the beginning of our meeting, so won't mention again, this is just a question and answer workshop, so don't hesitate, don't be shy to either type your questions on chat or just unmute yourself and ask them directly to us. It can be anything related to PAW, to your academic assignments, subjects, issues, whatever.
Have you guys ever used one word direct code?
Mm, you mean like you only quote like a single word from the source and then you put it into your own sentence?
Yes.
I have done that.
I think it's very cool, and I have no idea how to do it.
I usually do it when the word used by the original source is something that is like really unique to the author's like voice or tone in that article, and it is something that contributes a lot to the whole entire in connotations of the sentence. So let's just say when like the author is describing something or some event as a certain word, and I wanted to like put that word into my my own writing, then I would just single quote that only word. Yeah, that, or maybe I will, if they're describing it as like maybe one or two word that is pretty unique that I really cannot replace that with any other words, then in that case I would like quote them in my writing.
Yeah, it's pretty similar with me. I used that a couple times in my assignments, and again, I only use that if I strongly feel that it's very original language from the author,
Yeah,
and unique, as Mia mentioned, because otherwise it gets kind of weird for you using just a one word citation without like a really strong reasoning for that. And I guess you asked about how to format that. When it comes to formatting of that, I'm pretty sure it's the same as the normal citation, right? So you just put quotation marks around it, and then the basic reference at the end of the sentence.
Yeah, so even if you're not quoting the entire sentence from the source, you still have to have in-text citation for it. So don't forget it.
Anything else you guys want to add on that topic? Maybe you've encountered the one-word quotation somewhere, or you use them by yourselves.
For me, I think it happens a lot when I'm writing IR related essays. So sometimes a certain author who's very well known and I guess not including that single word from their sentence or taking out that word and replacing with something else, like paraphrasing it, would completely change the entire meaning of the sentence and would just I don't know, like it would just leave it with less pizzazz if you were to change that word with something else. So yeah, one word quotations are completely fine and I've often used them myself. So as long as you remember to cite it correctly in text citation and whatnot, then everything's all good.
Great. Did it help, Sia? Did we answer your questions?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
No problems. What about the other students? Do you want to share something with us or ask something? Okay, we have one question here. How can I tell if my topic is too general or not? Yeah, the topic selection is very, I would say, current and popular topic. We did a couple workshops, if I'm not mistaken, about topic selection, right? And one was a couple weeks before that. So anyone want to start on this?
Yeah, I can try to add. So usually how I tell if my topic or someone else's topic is too general is when basically it's too broad. You only have, for example, you're a BE student and you want to talk about human resource. So your topic is only human resource. That is very broad and there are so many different aspects of it that you can talk about, right? So even if it's a bit more focused, like human resource in what industry, that sometimes it's okay for like a short paper, but when it's longer, I would not recommend it because it's still only in this industry. That is very broad. You can try to try to find a more focused perspective. So I will try to find out first. I will try to search that thing first, like human resource in the service industry. And then I will try to type that into Google. And sometimes they show you what type of things that are related to that topic, right? So sometimes I will try to take inspirations from there and see which ones interest me the most. Those are usually how I try to like focus my topic. So basically how I can tell when it's too general is when there's no specific aspect that I'm looking for, or someone else is looking for. That's how I usually how I usually find that.
Yeah, great. So basically, usually when it comes to topic selection in general, you you want to keep that good balance between being too broad and being too specific, but you always want to be at least specific at some way, because when you have like a general idea, general topic, you want to think about how you can narrow it down a little bit. So there are a couple of ways. You can always narrow it down to maybe like a specific region, a specific country, or you can narrow it down to a specific time period, um, or to like a specific area, maybe background, some particular sphere of or industry, life in general, anything. And by doing that, you are basically narrowing down your whole topic that is too general or too broad into this smaller areas, and you'll be able to find a specific sources talking about this specific items you want to discuss, rather than trying to search for a more general articles or general sources where you need to do much more work to actually find some information you really want to include in your assignments. So try always to keep that good balance between specific and broad. That's my perspective on that.
I think that you can also ask yourself like what and where, why, who, and how. So those things will help you to narrow down your topic, just break it down a little bit. And you can also search on Google's like what the research papers regarding your topic have researched about, and you can take it as a reference for your topic. Yeah, hope it helps.
Yeah, so I agree with Lee about, using questions like the what, where, when, how to help you kind of narrow down your topic. So usually if you have a topic that is too general, when you kind of let's say when you were talking about that topic to someone else, if you find that person keep asking you questions like where and when, basically questions that aims to kind of further specify the context of that topic, then it's a sign that your topic is too general. So you can kind of imagine yourself um, in the position of someone who is talking to you about your topic. And if you find yourself keep having to ask yourself further questions to specify the context of your topic, that's probably a sign that your topic is too general. Let's say if you start with human resource and then you kind of ask questions like, okay, what about human resource? And then what about it? What about it? When, where, how? Then that's a sign that your topic is a little bit too general and you kind of want to consider narrowing it down. And obviously, when you're narrowing it down, then you can use, the questions that I have mentioned: what, where, when, how, why, who, to help you kind of narrow it down to a point that you feel comfortable writing about it with, a certain page limits. So I hope that helps answer your question.
Yeah, thank you very much for asking. We appreciate that. Anyone has anything else to ask? Don't hesitate again. Just ask directly or type in chat. Okay, let me ask you guys, have you ever been to a PAW sessions before?
No, I never.
Never been. You definitely should try that because it's a great opportunity for you to come to one-on-one session and just show your specific particular assignments, ask very specific questions about your assignment. We can look at it together, help with everything related to that academic assignment. So that will be very helpful. So definitely come check it out if you encounter some difficulties or issues, or you just want some like a set of fresh eyes to look at your work. Okay, we have another question here. How can I know which quotation would make the compelling evidence? What do you guys think about that? Okay, so I can start on that topic. When we talk about a specific evidence or argument that you want to be as persuading as possible, sorry, it usually comes down to specific information, such as, let's say, particular statistics or particular numbers or particular facts. That's, in my opinion, most compelling evidence. For example, if you're talking about any research or you are trying to explain what is happening like in a particular sphere, a particular area, every time you try to support your statement with a quotation that has like a specific percentage or a specific number, or let's say a article from a governmental source or like any other political source, it becomes a really compelling evidence because it's a straight fact, or it's just a straight evidence of what you are trying to say, rather than just adding a quotation where the other author is trying to explain that in his own words. That would be less supporting evidence compared to the other ones. So my general tip there, try to if you obviously can find that statistics, try to always input that in your assignment, supporting your statements.
So yeah, I think that's a pretty good suggestions. Usually when I have to decide which piece of evidence to include in my writing, I tend to look at, the specific paragraph that I'm currently writing. So usually you would have a topic sentence in your own paragraph. So if I have to find an evidence, I need to find an evidence that will help me support whatever claim that I made in that topic sentence. So let's say in the topic sentence, I'm claiming that there is a relationship between A and B, for example, then the piece of evidence that I'm looking for will probably have something to do with, there's a study that has been conducted that suggested that A and B is connected. And then I found another study that suggested that A and B is connected. And it also specified the relationship, the nature of the relationship between A and B. So those are the two evidence that I can consider putting into my paragraph there. So again, whatever you do, keep in mind that the purpose of evidence is to help you support whatever argument, whatever claim that you are making. So in a paragraph, look at your topic sentence and then look at the piece of evidence. Is the evidence supporting your topic sentence? So yeah. So that's kind of the way to kind of break it down.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that, because I forgot to actually like add that some statistical info or numbers or any facts I was talking about. It's not optimal every time. It always depends here on your own claim or conclusion statement. So don't try to just input like statistics in every quotation you want to.
Yes, of course. And I also forgot to mention this, but sometimes the evidence that you find has, a direct connection to your topic sentence or to your argument in that paragraph, but sometimes the connection is kind of indirect. And so your job then as, the author of your own paper is to clarify how exactly does that evidence support your topic sentence, support your argument. So it's not just about finding the evidence and inputting it into your writing, but also finding a way to justify, your including that evidence. So you also have to kind of explain to your readers, okay, why am I including this evidence? How is this evidence helping me support my topic sentence here? So that's also equally important as well, because sometimes, like I said, the connection between the evidence and your topic sentence is indirect. And in that case, your explanation, your justification is really important.
Yeah, definitely. So sometimes the idea or about the connection might be clear in your head and you are confident in this particular evidence. But for the reader, for example, it can be a little bit hard to connect those two dots together. So try using especially the analysis part of the text paragraph to do that, because that's the part where you're actually trying to add something additional to your evidence, your quotation, and explaining the connection there would be also a great idea.
It's also a good idea to pay attention to the format of your evidence. So sometimes it's preferable to put in a quotation as your evidence, maybe because it contains really specific statistics, or it is so well written that it cannot be condensed or paraphrased further. Or perhaps perhaps you need that extra credibility from an author. However, too many quotations and you can actually, and your paper won't sound like you. It'll sound like you are, I guess, summarizing other people's ideas instead of coming forth with your own. So just pay attention. So I guess it's a good idea to pay attention to sort of the formatting. So whether you want to put in direct quotations or paraphrase or a summary. So you have options when it comes to evidence as well.
Yeah, that's a great comment. Thank you for that. But yeah, in general, it's usually good to try it and keep that good balance between quotation and paraphrases throughout your whole assignment, because it not only gets you less similarities throughout the whole assignment, but also the flow of your whole assignment will be much better, because some of the quotations will be basically direct ones, some will be paraphrased. It will make your whole assignment look better. Okay. Anyone else want to add something on this topic about evidence quotations?
Yeah, I think it's good to look like back and forth on your evidence when you choose the evidence, like how the evidence connects to the explanations and your research topic. And then you will look how you will analyze it, like, so what? So remember to look back to the explanations and trying to find a way to analyze it in order to choose the good evidence. And regarding connecting the evidence to your main argument, remember to keep the original meaning of the author, because sometimes when you are trying to make the connection, you might accidentally add your ideas into the citations. But yeah, so you should remember to keep the original meaning of the authors while they're making the connection to the argument.
Yeah, great suggestions. Thank you again. That was a lot of information, so hope you were able to catch the answers you need to. But remember, this is again a recording, so we'll be posting later on a YouTube channel, so you can always go back and rewatch this for our answers again. Any other questions? We still have 20 more minutes, so we can discuss a couple more topics here if you want to ask anything. Maybe you have some questions related to PAW directly about our services or anything else about the sessions in general.
Sorry, do you guys have the face-to-face sessions for Paul?
You mean in person ones?
Mm.
Not yet, right? And I'm not really sure if we are going to do them this semester.
Okay.
But yeah, basically if we do, then we'll gonna update, probably like post another poster or something like that to let anyone know that the sessions are going back to face or in person. We are basically, all of us are waiting for that as well. Okay, while we don't have any more questions here, I guess we can discuss something within ourselves. For example, like let's discuss what was the part of the assignment or like any specific assignment you struggled with the most, and what would be like your main general tip for other students that will be doing that part or that specific assignment?
Can I start?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so for me, usually the hardest part is the topic selection or the brainstorming process, especially if the teacher doesn't really give you like a specific topic you have to talk about. They're like, for example, maybe I'm in a consumer behavior class and the teacher is like, yeah, write anything about consumer behavior. That really kind of confuses me sometimes because I'm not sure what they expect. And so for that kind of things, what I do usually is I try to find inspirations from what's happening around me, even from the smallest thing. I try to take inspirations from that. So If the assignment is about artificial intelligence, I try to see things about like I don't know, oh, going to the hospital is really mendoksa. It's really confusing sometimes, especially in Japan. So I would like to talk about developing a software for blah 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 blah. Those kind of things. I try to find the topic within with what I'm confused about or what I find curious, what I'm curious about. So yeah, that's how I usually try to do the topic selection process. And I try to like write all of them and see which ones have the most evidences, like journals or everything like that. And then I try to write from there. Usually that's how.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Anyone else want to follow up on that? And yeah, students, you can just type your question or ask them directly while we're discussing that. So don't hesitate to do that.
Oh, you can go first.
Okay. I think I was gonna say, oh yeah. Similar to Sonia, I think topic selection can be one of the hardest things, especially from my experience. Professors give you, I guess, your like autonomy to choose whatever topic you want, right? However, when you're doing like a research paper or something content heavy, like your classes are content heavy, then professors expect you to fill in the gap in the literature. So you need to, I guess, write a topic that is somehow manageable for you, but at the same time something that no one else has written before. And that can be very, very challenging because I guess with the abundance of articles and sources and books out there, it can be hard finding something that no one or very little few have talked about. So I guess my own tip for that is to um, look in the conclusion and then where they say further research. So perhaps they talk about, oh, further research could be done into this aspect of their paper or this aspect. And that's usually an area that people have not written articles about. So if you're ever struggling to find a topic, then I guess that section of the conclusion is really helpful.
So in terms of topic selection, if you cannot find inspiration around yourself, so you can type a broad topic on a database like Thailand Francis or EBSCOhost, and then you read the articles there, see the titles, and you highlight the keywords. You can also go into the articles to see the keywords. There are a lot of keywords, a lot of topics, smaller topics than your broad topic to find an inspiration, to find a specific topic that you're interested in. So yeah, so there are two ways to find a topic. Look around yourself to find inspiration or look at other articles, keywords to find your interested topic.
Yeah, those are good suggestions. Thank you for that. From my perspective, I had issues with referencing in general at first, because when you encounter the whole formatting of quotations, paraphrases, and the formatting of reference lists for the first time, I guess, it might seems really hard. And my main suggestion, my main tip for any other students that just started doing that, especially even if it seems hard, um, try just practicing it by yourself for a little bit. Don't try using those like auto generation tools from the beginning, from the start, because even if it seems hard at the beginning, when you practice that for, let's say, like even 1 or 2 semesters straight by yourself, you get used to that, because the general idea, general formatting is always pretty much the same. It changes not that much and very rarely. So you just getting used to it with practice, and that would be it. Because now I can confidently say I'm pretty sure in the referencing I do and the formatting I do. But definitely, if I started using those tools right at the beginning, I wouldn't practice at all by myself. That would be very difficult for me. because I know most students, they actually ask pause these questions about, is it okay to use those tools, or is it okay if I try using those tools after I've already established myself in that and feel confident in that. um, that is why I'm bringing this here.
Well, so for me, back when I was taking AC1 and AC2, one of the hardest part of the paper for me was actually the conclusion. I sometimes struggle with not knowing how to kind of wrap up my paper after I've written like so much about it. And usually, in the conclusion, you're not just simply stopping at, giving a summarize of whatever you discussed. You usually have like another part in the conclusion where you talk about the importance of your topic, and you kind of again reminding the readers of the significance of your topic, of your research questions. And it's pretty important that you kind of justify it, because you need to give your readers something to remember after they have read your paper, right? So imagine if you like read like pages after pages on your topic and you were so passionate about it, but then at the end, if you cannot like remind the readers of the importance of what you have written, of what you research you have done, your reader's not going to remember it. They're just going to forget about it. And well, that's usually not good, right? So what I did was I think back at my research process. So, I thought about like the difficulties or whatever I come up with during my research process. Let's say during the research process, I was struggling to find resources because there were not many of them. So that's probably one of the reasons why my topic is important, why the readers should care more about this topic, is because it's not being researched enough. It's not being invested enough resources in. And so I kind of talk about that. Or maybe I can think about how, the knowledge or whatever findings that I have come up with, whatever analysis that I have come up with in, the previous sections of my paper is going to help the readers. So I also think about the target audience. So am I writing this for researchers? Am I writing this for business stakeholders? How are my informations, how are my analyses from my paper is going to help these different targets? How is it going to help researchers? Is it going to help them to find new inspirations for their research into this topic, into different aspects of this topic? Is it going to help business stakeholders to understand maybe the risk of something, the potentials of something, so that they can start investing into it, so that they can, do market research on it? And I find that this research, this kind of process has helped me a lot, even after I have taken these classes, and now I'm taking other major courses, because right now I'm required to write a lot of business proposals. And in business proposals, there's usually a section called managerial implications, where you have to justify to the stakeholders, to your managers, why whatever plan that you're proposing is going to be beneficial. How is it going to help them solve their business problems? And that's where, that thought process coming into help. So it's not, so whatever I learned from, my AC1, AC2 classes, they're actually helped me a lot now, in my other major courses.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Always remember this information you are studying now regarding those academic assignments. It most likely will be very useful for you further in your studies, and you can always come to PAW, even not with like AC1, AC2, or any other related subjects. If you have, for example, academic assignment in your major subject, and you can just come to PAW and ask us directly to look through them and check those together if you have any questions related to that as well. Okay, so we have less than 10 minutes left here. Does anyone else have any final questions? Or like maybe just thoughts or anything you want to share? Or maybe you have something to share about this particular Q&A. Maybe you have some feedback, some suggestions. Was it helpful for you? Would you like maybe a little bit different format? Anything you'd like to share about that? And while we are waiting here, I think I'm just gonna duplicate some of the links so to make sure everyone just have them in chat. This one is for the resources and another one is for our YouTube channel. Again, you can always check both of those links because they are basically open for anyone. YouTube is a great place where you can find our previous workshops, recordings, Q&A workshops, recordings as well. Rewatch them anytime. Maybe it will be useful for you. There are specific topics and there are specific timestamps in each video where you can just follow them and find whatever information you need directly. And when it comes to the PAW resources, again, go to that link and there are a bunch of different resources and there are additional resources that where you can go to a Google Drive and look through some of our PAW resources there. All right, anyone of fellow PAWs, you want to add something?
Well, I just want to remind you guys that Paul has already started this Monday. So from now on, you can, you know, go ahead and book for sessions on the Paul website. So if you find yourself needing some help, some review, peer review sessions, whatever that you need help with your writing assignments, you can book the sessions with us. And yeah, and we'll be gladly to help.
All right, let me ask you one final time. Do you have anything else to add? Any final questions, any final thoughts? If you don't, I guess we'll be ending it here. Let's just wait like a couple of minutes. If you don't have anything, yeah, don't worry about that. Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate every one of you that came today, that asked questions, especially because we basically, all of us do this for to help you guys, to help the students with anything related to academic assignments, academic subjects. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing your tips and your time for us.
Yeah, thank you. No problem at all.
And well, if you want to, well, some of you might not have a lot of questions right now regarding writing assignments because uh, now it might be a little bit early into the semester, but later on in the semesters, when you start to have more writing assignments, you may find yourself having more questions. Then we also will be hosting more Q&A workshops like this in the future, so you can obviously join those Q&A workshops and then ask us more questions. Or again, you can book call sessions if you have very specific questions regarding your very specific assignment. So yeah, don't forget that we're here to help you with whatever questions that you have about academic writing. So please don't hesitate. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think we can just end it here. Stop it. Thank you again for coming, everyone. We appreciate it one more time. Don't forget to follow the links, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and definitely book PAW sessions.
So thank you guys very much for joining our workshop today. Oh, I also want to note that we actually have like an Instagram account by SLI where we post a lot of promotional materials for upcoming events, not just by PAW, but also by other SLI team as well. So if you use Instagram, you can follow, I believe it's TIUSLI account, something like this, if I'm not mistaken. So this is their account. So you can follow TIUSLI on Instagram and keep an eye out for future events from us. Yeah. Okay. So I think we can wrap it up here. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, again for coming.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you a lot, everyone.
Good luck with your assignments.
I'll do my best.
Good luck.
Okay. Goodbye,
Bye.
guys.
Bye-bye.